Alright guys, my name is MetaGoblin. Today we're talking about a little bit of recent TBC news, and by extent a little bit of news about fresh classic WoW servers. So Blizzard have sent out another survey similar to the last one that we got about TBC, and there's a little hint on this survey that they may be considering to launch fresh classic WoW servers alongside TBC servers. The questionnaire is a big one, it takes a good 15 minutes for you to complete. It asks a number of questions, but very sneakily there is a select few questions about what we're really interested, obviously, on this channel about classic TBC and fresh servers. But the survey asks a lot of things about Shadowlands and other games as well. It's interesting, I did actually get the survey in my email, but unfortunately I didn't respond to it in time, so now the survey, basically I just can't do it. So a little bit unfortunate, but anyway, let's move on. So the first question is, how interested are you in a classic version of the Burning Crusade? Now, this question worries me just a little bit, because if they're still asking this question at this point, then to me that speaks that they're still not 100% decided to do classic TBC, and they are still considering on whether it's actually going to be worth the money to invest into. So honestly, this one worries me just a little bit, but it's possible that they're just trying to expand the response that they got from the first survey. The next question is also very simple. How likely are you going to play a classic version of the Burning Crusades? Basically just, are you interested and are you actually going to play it? Don't really need to comment on the second one, but the third one, a little bit more interesting. And here it is. If World of Warcraft introduced a new WoW Classic fresh start realm where the game is at day 1, examples, all players start at level 1, Molten Core and Elixir, and are the only raids available, Battlegrounds are not available yet, and the content unlocks progressively over time, how interested would you be in playing that realm? So what's interesting about this is that it is the first time we've had any kind of official mention of the concept of a fresh classic WoW server releasing after, classic WoW is basically completed. I also think this is quite interesting because obviously the community has been talking about that quite a lot. A lot of people from private servers are obviously very keen to play in fresh servers over and over again until the ends of the earth. A lot of people are just interested in that fresh server experience. Some people only play classic WoW for the first couple of months of a fresh server. So this may mean that they are actually paying attention to the community, particularly the obviously videos like mine on YouTube and videos from other creators too. I think this has probably been brought on a lot by how people are obviously making their own fresh server events on dead classic WoW servers, and I think the traffic that event gained on YouTube and in the community in general, I think that's what's really provoked this question in this particular survey. The next question is, thinking about your WoW classic character, would the character you create on this new fresh realm become your new main character, or would you play your other main character more? So basically this question and the next one, which is how often would you spend your time on a fresh server compared to classic WoW, they're trying up to evaluate if if they release fresh classic WoW servers, will people actually play them, and will people just continue to play them, or will they just play for the first 2 months of the fresh server experience and then go back to playing TBC Classic, and will these servers die out, thus making the the cost of keeping that server up a little bit of a waste of money? So that's what we're trying to ask here. Are people gonna actually commit to playing these TBC servers, or are they not? So what we're trying to do is fill the waters of how many fresh classic WoW servers should they launch. Should they just launch 2 per region? Should they launch 5 per legion? Should it be like 20 per legion? I don't know why I'm saying legion there, I mean to say region. So anyway, it's pretty straightforward. They're trying to work out whether it's going to be worth the money or not, and whether it's going to be worth launching fresh classic servers alongside TBC servers, or doing fresh classic WoW servers maybe a year on, or maybe 2 years later on, things like that. Unfortunately, there is no mention of fresh Burning Crusade servers, which is slightly concerning, but you never know, they may have to launch fresh classic TBC servers simply by the fact that the current servers will get too swarmed with players. That remains to be seen. Personally, if I was going to do it, I would make, fairly decent options for everyone. I would give people the option to make characters on a fresh TBC realm, a fresh Classic WoW realm, or just continue playing their Classic WoW characters into the Classic TBC. I know a lot of people criticise that kind of idea because it would segregate the community too much, but at the end of the day you only interact with the people on your server anyway, right? You're going to be playing your server, loads of players on that server. Who cares that there's like less people playing a normal TBC server as opposed to a fresh TBC server? I don't understand how the community is segregated if you can only play with the people on your server anyway. Let's say for instance that they didn't even release Classic WoW and what they did was release 2 servers per expansion, right? For every single expansion in World of Warcraft, the community would be segregated, but you wouldn't really be segregated because again you wouldn't be able to play those people playing Wrath of the Lich King if you're playing on a Cataclysm server, and you'd be on a big populated server in a big community interacting with everyone on your server. Who cares about everyone else on different servers? But anyway, that's just my opinion. I probably shouldn't ramble too much about it. The last thing to talk about really is a Twitter post from a guy called Nano. Now Nano is a guy that people have been regarding as somebody who has inside Blizzard information, and so far has actually been quite accurate with basically revealing some inside information, for instance the release of Naxxramas and other big news like that. And essentially what he has said is we will be talking about a TBC content schedule on the new year. So we're talking, 1st of January, which is less than like 7 days away. So I'm not saying this is the absolute word of God and whatever his tweet said is going to be absolutely true, but at the same time it is definitely, like, who would go out of their way to just outright claim something like this publicly on Twitter? Because obviously you're on Twitter, if you start making false accusations and false leaks and everything like that, everyone's going to think you're a bit of an idiot. Again, it's going to affect your reputation. I don't think he would be the person unintelligent enough to do something like that. So as much as it might not be 100% accurate to the 1st of January we get TBC announced, but I definitely think there's a slight chance that it could be closer than that. Obviously the date on the BlizzCon live event in February the 20th and the 21st. So I think there's a slight chance that it may come a little bit earlier in January, so that they can very sneakily schedule in a TBC beta or alpha for when you pay for the virtual live BlizzCon ticket thing. So I think there's a strong possibility that also could happen. But anyway guys, I think I've rambled on about this topic enough. Very interesting news. I think we're definitely getting a couple steps closer to finally getting a half decent TBC announcement, or at least some kind of respectable, confirmed, reliable news about TBC Classic. Finally, I think we're getting a little bit closer. But anyway, my name is MetaGoblin, and to my next video, ciao.